What's up, people? We've been away for a little bit, but welcome back. It is myself, H, and along with me is.
Big Mike from Big Mike's Real Reviews.
And for those of you watching through the video feed, as you can see, we both have on our Superman shirts. And for those of you listening through the audio, we have on Superman shirts. Reason being, so the new Superman movie trailer dropped today, and I'm sure people have done thousands of reactions. Of course, we're going to put our 2 cents in. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. So let me start off by saying this. So Mike, when we talked about Superman before, I told you from the jump initially, I wasn't impressed. And there were a lot of reasons why I wasn't impressed. And I'm like, yeah, I'll wait to see a little bit more. But I was really cautious about it. And before I say what I want to say about this new trailer, Mike, when you saw the first trailer, what were your thoughts? When you first saw the original trailer, excuse me.
So I was a bit indifferent. I did understand what was trying to be done. Especially the first scene where he just lands and he's hurt. It's like, okay, Superman can be vulnerable.
Right.
Because to me, in my opinion, one of the main gripes that a lot of people have about Superman, because Superman is very well known and liked, but also very well hated, because it's like, well, shit, like no one can do anything with Superman. He's kind of boring, right?
Right.
Because he's so powerful, and he can't be defeated. He's the big blue Boy Scout, So it's like, I like how they're trying to, or James Gunn is trying to turn it on its head.
Yeah. So and that was the thing that got me with the original trailer is that you can see that he's vulnerable, but like they didn't give us a lot to work with.
No, because it's teaser. They didn't want you to know too much yet.
Right, and I get it with teaser trailers, but teaser trailers are supposed to get you excited, and that original trailer didn't do a lot then to get me excited. But then fast forward to today,
okay,
and there was a lot more meat added on the bone. So I'm gonna tell you what I liked and I didn't like. So my like is, yes, we're finding out a little bit more about what Superman has to face, because granted, the big reason why he's such a difficult character to translate is because I think sometimes the character is only as good as what he's put up against.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the movies, it's like it's only so many times you can stick him up against Lex Luthor.
Right.
That gets old after a while, no matter how many actors you get to play him. And I think even initially when I saw the first trailer, like, Lex Luthor yet again. But you had that. You had the fact that
well, they did show
trailer,
Ultraman.
Right. In this trailer, yeah, you got to see that. You really get to see. Well, actually, besides
they showed Ultraman in the teaser too.
Right, but they really showed a good look at him in this one. But besides all that, is the biggest thing that stood out is public perception, because apparently he did something that pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
And then the bigger thing was that interview he had with Lois Lane. Now, I'm kind of jumping into it, but like I said, we're jumping into this with 2 feet.
Yeah.
I like the whole fact that somebody really understood that Superman is just, I'm out trying to show some kindness to everybody, because apparently when Lois Lane was asking him all these questions, she was asking some hard-hitting questions. Well, did you get the president's permission? Did you do? It's like, I'm only trying to help people. I'm trying to stop war.
Right.
But did you get permission to do so?
Exactly.
Why do I need permission?
It's real world things that would happen if Superman existed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is American, and he went to some country and stopped their squabble. It would be like, hey, wait, isn't he representing America? Like that would be the thought. That would be the thought.
Yeah.
Because especially in today's political climate.
And the last time we actually had a Superman that did that?
Christopher Reeve.
Superman 4.
I know.
Superman
That's
4.
why I said that.
But nobody blamed That was because nobody, like, yay, Superman did that. He threw all the nukes in space. Okay, we're not going to blow each other up. If that same kind of thing carried out in a movie like this today, there'll be some pissed off people.
Oh yeah, because that would almost be like people thinking he's trying to. That would be an injustice type of situation.
Right.
Think about it. Like if he did that now, that would almost be an injustice type of situation. Like he's trying to take over and be like,
the world.
Listen to me, I know it's best, and you can't do anything to me anyway, so you better listen to me or else.
Right. So that's why I appreciate it out of this. Now, before I come to the main part of what we're talking about, what were your thoughts on seeing this trailer today?
So my thoughts, I peeped a lot more in this trailer because I did watch it a few times, and I like to look for Easter eggs. So what I am noticing as well that is kind of getting me excited. A lot of people's gripes with Superman movies in the past and even recently, it's like he doesn't really fight anybody. There's not a lot of Superman fights. As of right now, we've seen at least 3 different fights that or opponents that he can actually fight. The Kaiju, right? Ultraman.
Yep.
And whoever that oh man, the what do they call him? The something of Bavaria, the robot guy, the guy in the suit. He's from that country of Bavaria. They call him the something of Bavaria. But yeah, you see him fighting that, the guy in the suit. Also, I don't know if he fights the engineer, but I mean, she looks like she was wrecking stuff in the Fortress of Solitude, like the robots. But I don't know if she'd be actually capable of fighting Superman. But also, like, I don't know if you noticed the scene where the guards were kind of beating up Superman. The reason why, you noticed Metamorpho in the background. Did you see his hand that was down like this? He created kryptonite out of that hand. And I think he's being forced to do that because remember, this is Stagg Industries. And how did he become like that? Remember, that was Simon Stagg because he was dating his daughter, remember? And he got mad about that. So that's how Metamorpho even got like that. So he's probably being manipulated by Lex or Simon Stagg or whatever to help them against Superman. Because we all know he's going to join the Justice League eventually. But like, if you notice in the trailer, when Superman was getting hit by those guys in like armor, Metamorpho was in the background and he was holding his hand down like this, but he was creating kryptonite with his hand.
You know what? That's another reason for me to go look at it. But yeah, there are so many things. And I can tell you like this. I'm a lot more up on it than I was when I first watched it. I still have some trepidation because, this could easily fall apart if they don't keep a cohesive story.
Right.
But, it's one of those things where, I feel like, okay, I'm a little bit more positive on this. But the one thing I really did want to hit on, so one of our friends named Wes, he wrote a really good post. And see, the thing of it is, I don't like it when people hate on a character for the simple sake of hating.
Yes.
It's like if you're going to hate on a character, at least have a good reason. And Wes did hit on a few points.
He did.
Because he wanted to get a better idea of the marketing of what was going on with him being beaten up and with him being rattled by the interview that Lois was giving him. And I hit him back with a couple of points, but I'm going to say this, sort of the same thing here. So again, it's just like what we've been saying. The thing that many Superman movies have lacked, with the exception of Man of Steel, Justice League, those 3, is something that Superman has to fight at his level toe to toe.
Right.
So that's why I was happy about that. And then, like I said, with everything that you mentioned with the kryptonite being made and stuff like that, the 3 things he has to fight, he's going to face some challenges.
Exactly.
And that's something that you don't really get a lot of out of these movies. So, we've covered that. But, and then the other thing, as far as about stopping the war, we covered that too. And again, this humanizes him because, again, something else that we missed. And see, the biggest thing that I like, and this is why you have a Superman versus a Sentry, is Superman came from a decent background. He was raised by decent folk.
Yeah.
And he ain't crazy. That's why I said that's why you have him versus a Sentry. Because for those of you that saw Thunderbolts, Sentry is Superman who lost his mind.
Yeah. He's very, very troubled.
Yeah. So I get that, and then with that happening, you're going to get a person that's like, hey, I'm just trying to look out for my fellow man. I got these powers. I got a responsibility to do this. So, and the thing of it is, like I said, I don't disagree with anything that Wes said, because I would have said some of the same things myself. But like I said, a lot of that I would have said the first go around. But watching this trailer, I was like, yeah, I can understand why some people have some trepidation. But this really just means that there's going to be a lot of layers that's probably going to be added on that we didn't get from Man of Steel.
Yeah. I like I said, I like how they're bringing it more into like the modern world. Like these are problems that Superman would face
right
in the modern world now. Like in 2025, he would get backlash for whatever, because everybody puts everything online. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody has like, oh well, he did this and let's cancel him or whatever. Like that. Let's be honest, that kind of stuff would happen right now.
Because when you think about it, there was no real impetus for that with Henry Cavill's interpretation until he got to Batman versus Superman, because Bruce Wayne, he went out of his way to do stuff because he was pissed by all the destruction that happened.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, there, and even still with that, there still was no real consequence. There was still no, because I mean, you had all this damage that was inflicted across most of the U.S. when he fought the Kryptonians, and then we started seeing some of that, but you didn't see like the censoring or people getting upset or anything like that. Like, oh my God, he did this, he did that. Right. The most you got was, well, the military is going to keep a closer eye on. We're going to keep sending these drones out. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Not the public backlash that would happen. It's like I said, especially today.
Right. So with this, the question is going to be, what's going to, what? I'm going to make a prediction. Okay. It's going to be Lex Luthor all over again. You know why? Because Lex Luthor has always been a character that's just been xenophobic. Yeah. And a lot of people forget, if you go by the oldest origin stories of their meeting, they were best friends in school.
Yeah.
They were always best friends when they were younger, but then there was that freak accident that happened when the lab caught on fire and Clark Kent sucked all the smoke out and the chemicals reacted and caused Lex's hair to fall out.
Yeah.
And then once Lex found out that Clark was Superman and started digging in more and figured out, oh, he's an alien, then he became xenophobic.
Yeah. And also like Superman has physically fought Lex in the comics when Lex has the Lexor suit.
Right.
So I mean, we could even get that. The precursor to that could even be the armored guy from Bavaria that we saw in the trailer.
True.
Without the helmet and painted green and purple, you got the Lexor suit.
Basically.
Just saying.
Basically, it could happen. It could happen. So we got until July 11th to see this come about. I got my fingers crossed because, like I said, I feel a little bit more up on
July's going to be packed, man.
Yeah.
We got Superman, we got Fantastic Four, we got Jurassic Park.
Man, we in for a busy July. We gonna be broke at the movies.
Yep.
I'm just saying. So with that, we're gonna come back soon. We're gonna have some other stuff going on. One of the things that we personally are going to do, Mission Impossible, is due at the end of the month.
Yep.
We are going to be hitting that up, but next week for sure, if you don't hear from us, one of the things personally we're going to be doing is watching Dead Reckoning one more again before the new one comes out.
Yep.
So we will be back as soon as we can, but this was our look at Superman. And on that note, we're out.
Peace.
Up and away.